Revolutionary greetings and hotep. My name is Kwame Benta, and I'd like to welcome you to the Word from the Point. Today is March the 29th, 2023, and it is my honor and pleasure to be here once again to share some information that I hope that will empower you, inform you, and motivate you to live your best life and do everything that you can to stay healthy, wealthy, and safe and as you travel throughout this journey called life. Tonight I'm going to be here solo. My wife couldn't show up today because she had another appointment that she had to attend to, which is cool. And I'm going to do something a little different today than we normally do. Still going to try to share some information to empower you, but I'm going to dedicate this program to two freedom fighters from Virginia who made their transition last week. Two freedom fighters who walked a mighty, mighty walk in their different areas of expertise, I would say. Uh, One is from right here in Richmond, Virginia. His name is Randall Robinson. And the other one is from the down in the Newport News area, Dr. Ty Best. Both of them gentlemen have had a very profound impact on my life, my evolution. And, you know, they both touched many, many lives. Dr. Ty Best is a author of several books, and so is Randall Robinson, who is the author of several books. And their books were meant to empower us, to give us the information that we need to get that ultimate goal, to get to that place that we call freedom. Okay. And there are many things, there are many degrees of freedom, many types of freedom. Ty Best, his, I want to say his expertise was trying to show us how to get to that place called financial freedom, uh, time freedom, location freedom. And Randall Robinson, I would say that his form of freedom was what we call a freedom of self-determination, freedom of liberation, uh, freedom of justice uh, here in the United States and all over the globe. Both of them, touched many lives in many of these different places. Uh, this is Ty Best's latest book. It's called The Dream Chaser Manifesto. And the subtitle of this book is A Dreamer's Guide to Surviving in a Jungle of Non-Believers. Non-believers. What that means basically is that, we're born, and when we grow up as children, we have this vivid imagination. We can imagine so many things. We can make cardboard boxes into automobiles. We could make mud pies and stuff like that. So we had this great imagination when we was coming up. And, because of the system that we live under called capitalism, one of the questions they would ask us growing up, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And a lot of us had these amazing dreams, want to be a movie star, a professional athlete, maybe a doctor or a lawyer or a nurse or what have you. And for some reason, a lot of us, fall short of that dream that we had growing up as a youth, for many reasons. It could be the home that we lived in, could be our peers. It even could have been a educator, who didn't believe that you had what it takes to succeed in the dream that you had, so they discourage you from following that dream. So this book is designed to guide you through and hopefully spark that dream back into a lot of us who've given up in life. They say that a person kind of uh, you know, will go through life, just trying to survive, because life might hit them and they give up. A lot of people, uh, come to a point in life where they decide that, what's the point, you know, uh, or they don't have the uh, resources available for them to achieve those dreams, so they give up. They don't have the mentorship. But we in the organization founded by Dr. Ty Best, which is Wealth Builders Worldwide, we are dreamers, and we encourage people to dream big. This is what Dr. Best said. Then he changed it to dream bigger, dream bigger, because you may not reach that dream that you dream bigger, but if you dream, you just might reach that dream. One of the things he once said is that, you know, um, I'd rather live a life and chase a dream and never reaching that dream than to live a life and not have any dream at all. And he's a network marketing Hall of Famer. He's uh, been free, basically lived a life of freedom for over 30 years. He never had to punch a clock or anything like that. He started off in the industry called network marketing way back in the day when it was a whole lot harder to do, when you had to meet people in person. You had to basically sometimes even pay for the inventory that you were trying to sell to other people and provide to other people beforehand. Back in the day when you had cassette tapes and yeah, it's cassette tapes and what it was called, them big block things called DVRs or something like that. No, not DVR. VHSs. Yeah, been so long I can't remember what they were called. We had these big VHSs that we would give to people so they could see a presentation or mail them to them, stuff like that. But the industry has changed quite a bit since then. You know, most everything you can do right now, all you need is a smartphone to do the business. You don't have to have any inventory. Network marketing you can do anywhere at any time. As long as you got a smartphone, internet connection, and a dream, and a belief in yourself, and a belief in the product. And you can see scrolling at the bottom. If you're watching this on, let's see, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, you're going to see scrolling at the bottom of the screen some information where you can join us at 12 noon at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Saturday, to learn more about Wealth Builders Worldwide and the information that we share to help empower you financially so that you can achieve what we call financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom. Okay. And one thing I want to emphasize, so that's very dear to me, is that along that journey, uh, you must work on personal development, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And I think, a lot of us don't take physical personal development that serious because we don't really think about it much. We went to school, we got physical education maybe once or twice uh, during the whole time. I don't even know if they have it anymore, physical education. But our health is our most important asset. Okay. Yeah. Because without good health, nothing really matters. We're part of an organization called GS Partners Global. And our motto is education and healthy lifestyle. So we want to emphasize that to the utmost, that you want to live a healthy lifestyle. You want to take care and honor this right here, what we call the temple, because it's the only place that you can live. Okay. Now, Dr. Todd Best, he's from Newport News area, and went to Hampton University, was a star athlete back in the day, got a job at one of the top automotive companies back in the day. He's never sold cars, but he was a trainer, basically, training people in that industry of automotive back in the day. And one day he said that a person asked him, you know anybody want to make extra $1,200 a month or so? And Dr. Best said, yeah, sure. And so, not really knowing what it was, he said yes. And the rest basically is history. You know, uh, he didn't. It took him years to perfect the craft, where he became a six-figure earner, multimillionaire, and was able to free his wife from her job back in the 80s. She hasn't worked. She's also an ancestor. She passed a few years ago during COVID. And he's got a couple of sons. One is in his 30s, Alex Best. He's never had to apply for a job. Okay. Now, not saying that he doesn't work because he works in the family business, but he's never had to apply for a job. Okay. And I think that's something that we should all be striving to do for our offspring, for our children, for our family members, for people that we know, like, love, and care about, to show them a way where they can acquire that time freedom. Because they say that poverty is the root to all evil, and they also said that wealth can make you do great things, can help you do great things for other people. And I believe that that's true because poverty, unfortunately, is one of the reasons why we have a lot of crime. Is one of the reasons why we have a lot of violence, violence in our communities, violence in our homes, uh, violence everywhere. I'm seeing like every week now we have mass shootings here in this United States for some reason or another. Uh, Under the system, a lot of people have mental problems, stressed out, and they see no other way to this, so they lash out with violence, unfortunately. Well, there's a better way. It really is. But we've been conditioned and programmed to think that we have to work until we can't work anymore. And most people are living paycheck to paycheck. I just heard on the news the other day that most people, over 65% of the people in the United States, are living paycheck to paycheck and think that that's normal, you know, living off of credit cards because the wages that people make are not enough money to purchase the things that they need just to survive. And a lot of people are not able to or don't know that wealth principle number one is to pay yourself first. You see, a portion of everything that you earn should be yours to keep beyond your lifetime. And so if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe because we will never ask you to donate like other YouTube channels do because we share information to empower you financially. And in turn, if you see the opportunities that we share, then we all win because that's what we want us to do. We will all win economically because under the system, uh, you need money to live. They say money's not everything. But Zig Ziglar once said that money may not be everything, but it's real close to oxygen. It's going to be pretty hard to live here in the United States or anywhere without it. Just like oxygen, you can't live without it, really. And unfortunately, we're the only animal life on this planet that have to pay to live on our planet. Now, I say we shouldn't be paying for education. The country has enough money if they stop spending so much money on war planes and warships and war ammunition and stuff like that. And we probably wouldn't have so much violence in the streets if the government wasn't so violent itself. I think people are just following the leader. The U.S. seems to want to settle all their problems and disputes by war. There's not a Department of Peace in the United States. There's a they call it Department of Defense. It was once called the Department of War back in the day before, I think, 1947, when they closed that down. In 1949, they decided they're going to call it the Department of Defense. And I don't see any kind of defense because there's nobody trying to attack the United States that I know of. Really, all I see is the United States want to attack everybody else and help others attack them. So, Ty Best, is a legend, and his memory and the lives that he touched is going to live on for a long time. This past weekend down in Atlanta, we had Let's Go Weekend 11, the remix, and there were hundreds of us down there. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it, but my wife was there, and they had a wonderful time down there. Dr. Best passed away last Thursday, so it was kind of surreal that this event was scheduled that weekend so that the people who knew Dr. Best could come together and pay tribute to the great works that he did throughout his lifetime here. And if you're here in the Richmond area and you're watching this, and if you know uh, anything about Dr. Ty Best or Randall Robinson that you'd like to share, you can call in. The number uh, is 804 646 7172. Matter of fact, you can call in even if you're not in the Richmond area. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, you can also call in also. And for those who do not know about the late great Barbara Randall Robinson, he's from Richmond, Virginia. Okay. Some people may know his brother, the late Max Robinson, who was a pioneer in his own right. He was the first black anchor for CBS Evening News, passed away back in the 80s. So his family, they can be proud of their two sons, for sure. Randall Robinson he was the founder of Trans Africa. Okay. He was one of the advocates to end apartheid in South Africa. Uh, he was a lawyer, author, artist. He actually went on a hunger strike at one point in time to try to get the United States to return the duly elected president of Haiti back to Haiti, President Aristide, who was kidnapped by General Colin Powell and dropped off in the Congo. And the reason why is because he wanted to do things for the Haitian people that the United States didn't want them to do, which is basically uh, raise the minimum wage so that they would not be getting these slave wages. Uh, he wanted to make education available to all Haitians. He wanted to do things for the people. And unfortunately, this country just does not like when presidents come into power and want to take their resources and provide for the people. Uh, that was one of the reasons why they went into Libya. Libya had the highest standard of living before the Obama administration, along with NATO, decided they wanted to bomb Libya. And so when they dropped the Aristide off in the Congo, Danny Glover went out, had to ride out there, fly out there to rescue him because they really wanted him to die out there, unfortunately. And he took him down to South Africa where he was able to stay until he was allowed, and that said, allowed to come back to his own country. He's there now doing great things, but I'm sure that, there's certain stipulations that won't allow him to do some of the things that he wished he could have done while he was president, you know. So, like I said, Randall Robinson is one of the leaders in the Free South Africa movement, okay, which began in the 1980s. He was, in which he led a, a range of foreign policy campaigns in his lifelong advocacy in defense of democracy and justice in Africa and the Caribbean. Um, Several books that he's wrote. One of them is called The Reckoning. This is The Reckoning by Randall Robinson. Subtitle of this book is What Blacks Owe to Each Other. What do we owe to each other? Um, let's see. According to Assata Shakur, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. So I think we owe that for us to fight for our freedom. A lot of us think we're free, but we're not really free. Just because you may have a job and you can get up and go to work, go on vacation, you're not free. As long as you're living under a system of debt, you're not free because debt is just another form of slavery. Not long ago, you wasn't even able to get credit. The average person wasn't able to get credit. So they was overproducing things, but they couldn't sell it because people was not making enough money. So guess what the bankers decided to do? They decided that we're going to allow the average person to get credit. Now look at us. A lot of people are living from paycheck to paycheck and in debt and credit cards up to the yin yang, you know. Ashada Shakur, who is an exile in Cuba, says that it's our duty to win. We must love each other and we must support each other because we don't have anything to lose but our chains. That's a quote from Ashada Shakur. A book you may want to read, another book that I may highlight on our last show. We don't have that book right here with us, but it's in my library, her book. Um, yeah, she's in Cuba in exile. And a lot of people don't know this, but she's on the most wanted terrorist list, you know. And guess who put her on that most wanted terrorist list? The former president, administration, Barack Hussein Obama. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that we have political prisoners right here in the United States still who are fighting for self-determination, fighting for liberation back in the 60s, who are still in prison. Uh, Back in the 70s and 80s, who are still in prison today. One that a lot of people know of, his name is Mumia Abu-Jamal. He was once on death row. Fortunately, he's no longer on death row, but they still would refuse so far to give him a new trial because all the evidence, if he's given a fair trial, he would have been out. He would have never been convicted, really. But that's one thing this government has always been able to do is use the court system to disrupt the Black liberation movement. You know, it is illegal to try to fight for freedom for Black people here in the United States. Unfortunately, uh, that's just the way it is. Um, so, as I said, this program is dedicated to two great Virginia freedom fighters, Dr. Ty Best and Randall Robinson, who passed away Friday. He was living in St. Kitts because he had given up. Well, I ain't gonna say given up. I don't think he ever gave up. I guess he was just tired of trying his best to try to fight for self-determination and liberation and freedom for African people here in the United States. One of his books is called Quitting America. And on the front cover, you see the back of him just walking away, you know. And that's where he lived. I think he moved there in 2001 with his wife and lived there until his transition Friday. And he will truly be missed, but he will not be forgotten, because he was able to document some things that we all need to know and learn and study. And so his books are still available. His other book is called The Debt. And that book is about what America owes Black people. I know a lot of people say, well, uh, we ain't had nothing to do with slavery or anything like that. Well, it's about that, but it's also about everything else like segregation, Jim Crow, peonage laws, mass incarceration. And unfortunately, we still have people in power who still want to turn back the clock. Right here in Virginia, we have a governor called Governor Youngkin, who just decided with the stroke of a pen that those returning inmates, returning citizens who were convicted of a crime, instead of automatically getting their voting rights back for certain crimes, now they all got to apply again. There was a press conference, I believe today somewhere, talking about that. But it's sad, because I don't know how true it is, but this is what they teach us in school. That one of the reasons why they had the American Revolution because they had taxation without representation, taxation without representation, and that's basically what it is. If you can't vote, but you still got to pay taxes, then you paying taxes with no representation. But I guess it's okay, and some people think that that's okay. For certain groups of people not to have that right to vote. Because I don't know how much power voting has because I can remember vividly after 9/11 took place here. And I think this is 20th anniversary of it just passed this month, unfortunately. Millions of people have died because of that, where there was a peace movement that just sprung out, Answer Coalition. Uh, and there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people protesting all throughout the United States not to go to war with Iraq. But did the politicians listen? Nope, they sure did. Even the Taliban said that they would actually turn in bin Laden if you can show evidence that he had anything to do with 9/11. And what did President Bush say? We don't negotiate with terrorists. And you know what happened? They got Colin Powell to go in front of the UN Security Council and lie, a bold-faced lie that they had weapons of mass destruction. And unfortunately, they did this thing called shock and awe and just started bombing civilians, dropping bombs, not in the military places, just killing people. And many people died. I mean, they actually died before that because the U.S. had sanctions on them. They had put sanctions against the Iraqi government prior to that. And those sanctions is basically an act of war. Because it doesn't really affect the people in power when the U.S. puts sanctions on people. It only really affects the working class and the poor because those are the people that are denied the basic necessities to live life. In the United States hopes that these people would, get tired of living under those conditions that the U.S. sanctions impose upon them and rise up and overthrow their government. And that's what they want us to believe happened in Libya with Omar Gaddafi. And if you really, really open up your mind and do some research, you'll find out that his people didn't rise up and overthrow him. It was basically the same organizations that helped uh, overthrow the socialist government of Afghanistan when they paid bin Laden and the Taliban and the Al Qaeda to overthrow a socialist government in Afghanistan back in the 60s when they were going to, change and give people basic rights, even women rights. But they didn't want that. We've been so conditioned to think that that communism and socialism is so, so bad, and unfortunately, there's really no evidence of it at all, other than what they teach us to think. Um, yeah, just think about it. Every country that tries to take their resources and give it to the people becomes an enemy of the United States. Take Venezuela, for example. You know, they didn't want to even recognize the duly elected president of Venezuela. No, until the Ukrainian conflict started, when they tried to contact Venezuela to try to ask if we can buy some of their oil. Um, I remember a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, uh, Venezuela would actually supply free oil to low income families right here in the United States. Yeah. Yeah, they had a program like that. Something like Cuba also has a program that's still in effect right now where US citizens and other citizens from other countries can go to Cuba and get a free medical education, doctors, become doctors. The only thing they have to do is learn Spanish when they get there if they don't know it, but they'll teach you that. And once they complete and get their degree, go back to a low income or neglected community that most of them probably came from and serve their community. And that's it, you know. Uh, yeah, I was listening to a podcast today. Dr. Ball was on there with Brian Becker, who was the founder of the Answer Coalition, Answer. And they was talking about anti-war, the anti-war movement, you know, and I listened to it. I listened to it carefully. And I didn't hear not one word mentioned about ending the United States war on drugs, which is really a war in the black family that Nixon started in 1968, that I talked about a show ago when I had my guests on here, you know. Yeah, and I think that's one of the missing ingredients because I don't think you can talk about an anti-war movement if you don't talk about ending the war on drugs here in the United States. Uh, because we still have people right here in Virginia in prison, in jail for cannabis, also known as marijuana. Even though 2 years ago, the Virginia government made it legal for recreational use, but they won't let the people out of prison, you know, which is really cold. That's, you know, heartless, really. And I don't hear any of our black elected officials saying anything about it. Nope. They all just run with the same old sound bites. There was an election yesterday. Senator elect Bagley won on the same platform that they all just talk about. Uh, what is it? The sound bites is uh, lower, what is it? Uh, Housing, prescription costs, you know, just the same old rhetoric, you know, nothing really that's substantial, that's going to really change anything here in the United States or in Virginia or in Richmond. You know, it's going to be the same old thing. The wealth gap is going to continue to get bigger and bigger. Crime is going to continue to rise and rise. They think more police officers going to stop and end crime, but no, crime has a lot to do with poverty. And until they realize and start investing in the citizens and giving us an, an education, not just training us to regurgitate sound bites and memorize lies, and give us an education that's going to empower us to think for ourselves and have some critical analytical skills and to be able to pursue our dreams without coming out of college 150 or $200,000 in debt, which is just another form of slavery. It's not going to get any better. You know, education and housing and healthcare should be a human right. It really should be. But under the system of capitalism is not, because it's all about profit. You know, it's profit over the people and profit over the planet. And as long as we continue to live off of profit being the blood force, uh, more people are going to be living under bridges, living in their cars, living in parks, living in shelters. It's 40% of the people living in shelters in New York City have jobs, full-time jobs, but can't even afford, you know, the rent. Can't afford the rent. And it's not right. It just really isn't right, and it's either um, live in a shelter or live in your car. You know, a lot of indigenous people from Hawaii are moving to the States because they can't even afford to live where their foreparents and grandparents and great parents lived because they can't afford to live. And it's just not right. You know, it's just not right. So, if anybody wanted to say anything, feel free to give us a call. You know, uh, if you have any memories of Randall Robinson or Dr. Ty Best, give us a call at this number here, 804-646-7172. The lines are open for any questions or comments about anything that I've been talking about. You know, we talked about quite a few things, but mainly I just wanted to do this program, do this show in honor of two great people who basically, touched my life in a very, very positive way. You know, Randall Robinson opened my eyes up to the necessity of us as African people receiving reparations because, when uh, after the Civil War ended in 1865, Africans here in the United States were just let loose, those who could travel uh, with nothing, nothing at all. But those who once owned them as property were compensated by the government, paid reparations for the loss of their property. Yeah, one time African people here in the United States were considered property of another human being, which is really crazy when you think about it. But that's human nature for some people, because after the NATO bombed Libya, which was, like I said, had the highest living standard in Africa at the time. Uh, they had free education, health care, housing. The gas was like 12 cents a gallon or something like that because Gaddafi decided to nationalize the resources and help the people. Before he took control of the country, people were living in poverty. People were illiterate. Same thing with Cuba. Before Castro came, people were living in poverty. People were illiterate. Uh, but they decided they want to take the resources to help educate the people, provide them basic human rights like health care and housing. Yeah, and education. I don't understand why the United States, well, I do understand why. And it's unfortunate that the United States leadership, government, system do not want to, don't even want to forgive student debt, you know. But they can send billions and billions of dollars to fight a war to try to destabilize Russia for some reason. Now Putin is the enemy, you know. There's always got to be an enemy for the United States government. Uh, it's not a war on poverty, a war on drugs, a war on terrorists. It's a war on everything. Uh, but like they say, war is not the answer. War is not going to solve the problems of this world. We're going to have to realize that we as human beings should have evolved to a point where we shouldn't be manufacturing these wars to destroy the human beings and land and property and animals. We just shouldn't be doing it. But like I said earlier, educational system doesn't educate us. It just trains us. It trains us to just go along with the program, to live in this make-believe world, that we see on television. I don't even watch regular TV because basically all your evening shows are either about police, uh, good guy versus bad guy. And there could be other programs on TV to program us to think a different way and act a different way and live a different way. But that's not what those people who are producing and creating these shows want to happen. Okay. So I did bring another book. This book right here is not a book that either one of the people that I'm contributing this show to. His name is John C. Maxwell, and it's called The Power of Five. This book is called The Power of Five, and this is for network marketers, people who want to become professional network marketing professionals. Because my opinion, this is my opinion now, this is the best business model, the closest business model to a socialist economic system to me. And the reasons why I say that is because it's based on everybody winning. You see, on a regular job, people are kind of like fighting each other to get to the top, competing against each other. Well, in network marketing, it's about cooperation, you know, um, and everybody wants everybody to succeed that they introduce the opportunity to, because the more success the person has that they introduce it to, that they introduced to, the more success that the person that introduced it to will have also. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. And the great thing about this business model is like having a compensation plan attached to a personal development plan, because in order to grow and be successful, you must become a reader. Okay. And you must kind of detach from the program that we've gotten, or the years that we were educated in a system that's designed to create good, obedient workers. You know, I know a lot of people never heard of the 40-40-40 plan, but that's the plan that most of us are conditioned to accept to be normal, which is a lot of people don't even get to do that anymore, because a lot of jobs these days don't even give you the 40 hours to make it a full-time job. So they don't have to pay the benefits. And what the 40-40-40 plan is, you work 40 years, 40 hours a week, and then after that, you retire and try to live off of 40% of the income that you could barely live off the 40 years that you worked, being underpaid and overworked, hating your job, but don't know another way. Because unfortunately, there's been a lot of negative uh, talk about the industry of network marketing. But believe me, it's a better, much better way than to have to work until you can't work anymore. Because it gives you an opportunity for the average person to take control of their financial future. And in our particular uh, company, we don't even sell anything. No goods, no products. We sell people on the infinite possibility of their lives and the power of their dreams. And we provide them with the tools and training to enhance their lives, to live their dreams, and to build massive wealth. That's it. You know, we meet 6 days a week, twice a day. The bottom of the screen, you'll see where you can find out tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time what I'm talking about. Um, we show people how to do what the wealthy do. Albert Einstein said that the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. Those who know it earn it. Those who don't pay it. We want to show you the power of compound interest and the power of leveraging the talents and efforts of others so that you can do this one thing if you decide to do, and that's to eliminate debt, bad debt out of your life. Because as I said, debt is basically another form of slavery. It is. It's modern day slavery. So I want to encourage you to, this is a book I want to recommend if you want to become a good network marketer. This gentleman, John C. Maxwell, is one of the leading coaches and speakers. Okay. He has helped so many people become real, true leaders. This is the first book that he's actually ever wrote about network marketing. Okay, he's mainly a coach, a life coach, that teaches people how to enhance their lives and help others become leaders. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for leaders, not followers. We're looking for people who want more out of life than just working until they can't work anymore. You know, and you can do it if you believe in yourself, first of all, and believe in the product. Second of all, want more than going through the motions and surviving. Like a lot of people say, when you ask them, how you doing? Oh, I'm surviving. Well, we want you to strive. Okay. I am a member of Wealth Builders Worldwide, also a member of Team Believe, which is another group of like-minded individuals founded by Brother Eric Teray Muhammad, who is my wife's sponsor. He, for those who do not know, Eric Teray Muhammad is the son of Kwame Ture, also known as Stokely Carmichael, who was another freedom fighter who had to leave the United States and move to Africa during the 60s because he probably would have ended up like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. A lot of people know him for coining the phrase Black Power back in the day. That's Stokely Carmichael. And his son is Eric Teray Muhammad, who's the founder of Team Believe. Every morning, Monday through Saturday, on Facebook, he does a thing called Class in Session, where he shares empowering information, videos of people like John Maxwell, people like Eric Thomas, people like Les Brown, people who want to help you grow so that you can live the life that you used to dream about when you were you. Okay. And me and my wife, we are the co-founders of Ra, Turn to Your Royalty Warriors. Ra, some known as the sun god, uh, goddess that gives life. Without Ra, we wouldn't have any life here. And we want you to return to your royalty, to have that dignity, to have that pride, uh, to have what we call integrity. Okay, that's what royalty is, leadership. And warriors, that stands for winning at receiving residual income over receiving salary. That is our organization. My wife and I founded called Rock Turn to Your Royalty Warriors. And Basically, we are about wealth and your health. And we want to emphasize health. My wife is a vegan chef, and I am a personal fitness trainer by trade. Uh, kind of retired from that because I am basically a full-time network marketing freedom fighter. You see behind me the flag of red, black, and green, which is the flag founded by the organization, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, and the founder, Marcus Messiah Garvey. This is our flag. For those who do not know, the red stands for the blood of our people. The black stands for our people, and the green stands for the land of Africa that we know is rich with all the natural resources that the world needs in so many ways, you know. And that land is still being exploited by the system of capitalism, you know. Our dream is to get rid of those man-made borders in Africa uh, and to go back to cooperation, uh, get rid of this individualism that the system has conditioned us to think that we are. We need to have cooperation. We need to have solidarity. Those are the things that we strive for. But freedom is what it's really all about, you know. And so, also, we want to invite you to come out on the 15th of this month. No, next month. Okay, at the library on Laburnum Avenue, 1401 North Laburnum Avenue. At the library at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the 15th of this month, March, not March, April the 15th. We're going to be doing a live presentation of the things that we're going to be showing tonight on our Zoom presentation and tomorrow at 12 on our Zoom presentation. So we want to invite you, if you're in the Richmond area, 1401 North Laburnum Avenue, April the 15th. Come on out and learn about what we are doing to help you outpace inflation, learn wealth principle number one, which is to pay yourself first in an asset, and how to eliminate debt and how to grow as a person so that you can live that life of abundance and help other people along the way. And so um, we have one more show to do, and we'll be doing that show hopefully next week, same time at 7:30. Wednesday next week. My wife and I, hopefully she'll be here this time, and we're going to wrap it up with some talk about, you know, that most important asset that we have, which is our health. Because our health is our wealth, and without that, nothing else matters. So until next time, I want you to do everything in your power to stay safe and healthy and read. Okay. Reading is a lost art for many of us, but I want to encourage people to pick up those books and read. And if you don't like reading, go ahead and get YouTube or something and listen to audiobooks, okay, so that you can educate yourself. Because, like I said, the school doesn't educate us, it only trains us. We have to get that education outside of the classroom so we can become the best version of ourselves in every aspect: mind, body, spirit, and wealth. Because wealth is your health. Until next time, peace, power, and love.